Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. Joining us today is Mr. Rajendra Pawar. He's the chairman of NIIT Group. He's speaking to us a day after the earnings of NIIT Learning Systems was listed on Tuesday, and NIIT Limited, whose earnings were reported today. While NIIT Learning Systems clocked largely flat to higher numbers in the first quarter, NIIT Limited returned to profit in the June quarter. But operationally, the company was still in the red. But the bigger talking point here today is the listing of NIIT Learning Systems that we are going to talk to Mr. Pawar about. Mr. Pawar, welcome to BQ Prime.
Thank you so much, Tushar. Nice to be here.
Yeah, our pleasure as well, sir. First up, you have a new company that's listed. It's your third in your history since 1981. Take us through the journey first. And what is the strategy going ahead with both these companies?
So the company was formed in 1981, first line of history, but we listed in 1993. We listed NIIT in 1993. And we had two businesses. We had the training business, out of which came a software business, which we listed as a second listing of the group in 2004. Mm-hmm. And so the listing that we did of NLSL, we rang the bell a few days ago in the BSE, which was the first time we rang a bell. It was at its own set of emotions, the big hall. Okay. This is our third listing. And here what we have done is we have demerged the business which deals with our international customers, which is largely the learning outsourcing business. And that's a business we created in 2008. And we named it Managed Training Services. So helping large companies manage the training function, which has largely been an unmet. Nobody knows how much you spend, what you get. So we made that proposition to companies based on decades of experience that we would help large corporations put a discipline into how learning happens. And they know what they're learning, what they're spending on learning, what they're getting. And this happens to be the Fortune 1000 or the Global 500 companies in the US, largely, and now more in Europe. And that business, the offering of MTS has now actually matured to a point where last couple of years, we've had a 100% renewal in all our contracts because these are multi-year, multi-million-dollar contracts. And we continue to win in that offering. So we felt that the training business is a huge business, very highly fragmented. And in the outsourcing areas, thoroughly underpenetrated. So we see a large kind of runway in front of us. We see a large opportunity. Already in that fragmented business, we are number 5 worldwide. So actually here in this business, we see a path towards global leadership. So we felt it was important to give this part of the business its freedom and agility and capital to grow. So we put this on a very good path, and Sapnesh, who created the business, was the CEO of both all businesses, now runs this as a CEO and executive director, for which we have a new board, a very good board if you've seen. So this company now is on a very good track. And a few years ago, we were talking of 15% growth year over year and operating margin in the 15 plus range. And we had said that a few years ago that we would move into the 20% growth and 20% margins. So this quarter, we've exceeded both. Margin, as you know, has been upward of 22, 23%. So this is on a very good wicket, and we feel confident that the path that they've created, the momentum they've created, the offering that they've created, and the geographies they operate in are very different from what NIIT Limited does here. So this is the company which got listed, and it's on a good track.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Please. So basically, it's a very strategic move by you to spin off this particular division of your company and list it as well. It's a strategic move. Is it perhaps strategic because of the changes that may come into the workforce, especially in the technology space, because of, say, generative AI and evolving technologies? Would you like to comment on that, sir?
So it is not Gen AI and technologies which drive this demerger. It is that it's a very different market, different kind of customers, different business model, because we're in the learning outsourcing business versus people coming and learning from us. So different products, different offerings. So everything is different from what we do in India, China, and such countries, we'll talk about that.
Mhm.
So so therefore, given that fact and given the fact that we have growth capital available,
Mhm.
we felt it very important to accelerate this growth, and that can happen if we provided the focus and the agility and the growth capital, as I said. That's the reason for the strategic action that we took. And so that's on a good wicket at this point in time.
Got it, sir. We're also our conversations is happening at a time when we are seeing muted hiring by the Indian IT companies. There is a general slowdown in the US and other geographies as well, maybe because of a impending recession that may happen in the US and the war that's actually prolonged in Europe. What is the impact, or what are the feelers that you're getting from your clients, given the given the hiring picture that we are seeing right now at, say, the IT companies? The first question was that, please, if you
when we look at NIIT Limited,
yeah,
which is now very focused in India and, as I said, a few other countries, these comments that you're making are far more relevant here
okay,
than many parts of the world, though they're relevant in general for companies who are tightening the belts and nervous about the future. So people tend to cut down or curb some expenses, and training happens to be one of them.
Mhm.
But in India, we've seen that the IT sector has been very, very muted on its hiring. And it's not just to do with Gen AI. We'll come to that. That's a very important, very interesting, and very exciting trend.
Mhm.
But it's because I think the hiring has been subdued. Now, a good part of our business is in IT, and we are known for IT because that's, I think, where we started
Yeah.
in 1981. But in 2006, we started the second domain of our work, which is the banking at that time, now BFSI.
Mhm.
That's now become also significant, and that's a high growth area for us. So just like we built talent for the IT sector, I think we've also built a lot of talent, and we are building a lot of talent for the BFSI sector, and that's the second growth area.
Mhm.
So while the IT area is more muted, we find that currently the banking area is still doing very well, which is why, even in spite of the tough time, this quarter, we had a QoQ growth.
Mhm.
But the year-over-year picture, because of overall hiring, is challenged.
So
Now now you want to compound it, sorry, with the Gen AI, unless you want to reframe that question. But I thought I can.
I'm just looking at the fact of how the rest of the fiscal you think is going to pan out as far as hiring is concerned.
So if you recall, last quarter we had said that we see the second half
Mhm.
should start looking up, and I think this quarter is giving us the confidence because we have got quarter-over-quarter growth. In turbulent times, year-over-year is less relevant. It's how I like to say that the Chinese saying that you cross the stream by feeling the pebbles.
Yeah.
So this is the time where we have to be mindful, we have to be agile, we have to be very light on our feet.
Mhm.
So we find that second half, indeed, in our view, given a range of offerings, we see it improving.
Mhm.
In terms of margins, we'll be very more particular. And this quarter, in fact, last year we were minus 9.5 crore on EBITDA minus in NIIT Limited. This year we've reduced it to 6.4.
Yeah.
And quite clearly, we were wanting to get into positive in the second half of this year. So we will see revenue come back. We will see profitability. Of course, we have to tighten our belts, come back even stronger.
Okay.
So that's the outlook which we have, and that's the early signal that we are getting, and that's the kind of engagement approach with the market.
Got it. Again, let's talk about the generative AI bit right now. So according to a recent report in The Economist, they were actually doing a report on the impact of generative AI. So in July, startup job postings on Hacker News, it's a site for coders, were down by 40% compared to a year ago. So are you seeing the impact of generative AI on entry-level coding jobs? You think that kind of a statement is something, rings some alarm bells for entry-level jobs, coding jobs?
Well, see, there's a lot of conjecture about what Gen AI will do.
Mhm.
And there's also a conjecture of when it'll do.
Yeah.
So first of all, for me, this is the third time that the wave of AI has come.
Mhm.
But this time is more serious for the very simple reason that each of us is connected. We have a powerful device in our hand. We have unlimited memory,
Mhm.
and computing speed and telecom speeds are zooming. So the environment is right now to do the massive computation and data searches which AI needs to make a difference. So we obviously expect that many jobs will be impacted by it. But to imagine that some things will go away, I think we've heard that before in many areas. So I don't subscribe to that view, being around for 42 years in these technology change aspects. But the nature of the job changes for sure. And the impact of the technology. So, for example, we do see Gen AI making a difference to how we learn. So all the work that we are doing in NIIT, and we've been doing it, we have a big team working on this. Our view is that it's not about doing more with less, which is what you do with technology as a basis. It's about doing better with the same. So therefore, the way you learn, the extent to which transfer of skills happens. Many of us sit in a class and then we don't change the way we do things. So at NIIT, that's been a big focus for us, that you should be work ready on day one, even if you're a youngster who just comes in. So I think in making a difference to the quality of learning, we see AI being very instrumental in improving that. We clearly see that some jobs, if you look at your field of media, of writing stuff, or putting together, from news feeds, is going to be impacted very much more than the technical jobs of the day, because AI starts expanding the nature of applications of technology in itself. It starts creating a very vast range of opportunities which technology didn't see before. So I am not as concerned about what it will do to the jobs of technical people, because it's just at this time we're seeing that Gen AI and slowdown is happening at the same time. So people are trying to attribute one or the other to this part. I think Gen AI should be embraced, like all people who embrace technologies grow, is my view. However dangerous it looks. So Gen AI, everyone should embrace it. It does affect the way and the quality of work we do. And to that extent, therefore, it's not about the coders that I'm more concerned. It's about what more can we do. And therefore, in learning, what more can AI do to to get the learner to be more productive? And that's where our focus is. So it's more with same, qualitatively better with same.
Let's talk about a little bit of deal making, since you mentioned about the slowdown. You added 4 clients, at least NIIT Learning Systems added 4 new clients in the previous quarter. How are you witnessing deal making in the future? Is it gravitating towards, say, for example, essential, or is the discretionary spending by clients still available?
So see, NLSL deals with the learning outsourcing business, which is highly underpenetrated, right? So for us, if it was fully penetrated, then we'd be affected as much as other things. So yes, people are circumspect at this time. But I think for us, the opportunity is to help companies manage their learning better. That's really the offering of managed training services. So, of course, those of our customers for whom we've been doing this, their existing business may shrink, but they have many new avenues. So for us, the deal renewals in new spaces within learning for a corporation, that is a thrust rather than particular thing which is going at a certain speed, and there will be challenges in that. So we added 4. There's been roughly an average for the last few quarters. But I think we see that going forward. We have a very good pipeline. Last couple of quarters, we started investing much more in expanding pipeline because we have a good offering. So we expect that that number will go up in the quarters to come. And for us, at least, we see that happening. And of course, in the NIIT Limited area, the challenge is of employment. Once again, we are seeing that sectors like banking are getting better. And I want to make a point now, which is on strategy of, I did talk about NLSL. Let me talk about the big shift in strategy of NIIT Limited, which is a 42-year-old company, which is a startup. Let me say it's a startup again. So when we started NIIT, our mission was bringing people and computers together successfully. You may recall that. Even when we got into banking in 2006, somehow that remained intact because even bankers were learning how to use technology for better banking. But what we're looking at now is that we've dealt with more than one domain. So technology is the basis of learning, but subjects have been many more in our global operation. In India, I think India at this time is going to be not just the factory of the future, but the R&D center of the future as well. So the new talent needs of India It was IT in the 80s, banking a little later. There's a sporadic increase in those. Look at new manufacturing, look at supply chain, look at engineering R&D. There are areas like this which are opening up. So what we are saying now is let's become domain agnostic. And therefore our mission now is helping people realize their true potential. This is what we've done in certain sectors. Now we're saying we broad base it and say that we look at newer domains going forward. And areas like Gen AI will help us to build the content quicker, but also help us to enable the learners to move quickly and to embrace more things. So that's the new mission, helping people realize their true potential. And in the same way, the new vision is we would like to be the talent builders to the nation. That's our aspiration.
So, final question, sir. Now you have a 4-decade-old company in your group. You have a brand new company in your group. Where do you see both of them a year from now on? So by the end of this fiscal, what are your goals for both these companies? One is a 40-year-old company, one is a brand new company. What are your goals for these companies to exit FY24 as?
So NLSL is more than a decade and a half old as a division.
I mean, it's
it is charted. So we are saying 20% growth plus and 20% plus of margin. That's a route in the medium term, and it's set for that. And we would like that in the medium term, it starts accelerating with the focus it has. To me, actually, it's NIIT Limited, which is the startup. I have to say this.
Okay.
You know, we are reimagining it, and that's one reason why I'm spending so much more time. Because I think India needs talent across areas and need talent of a much higher caliber in the new domains that we're getting in. So this is where actually we see that the growth for us, we're at pretty much at a start point. In the 3 to 5 year term, will start growing exponentially as we broaden the domains. In IT, there's a pushback at this point in time, but again, for the new technology, advanced technology, there's a demand, but the bigger demand numbers will come back for sure. In banking, it's becoming far more pervasive. You can see how many people call you in a day to give you a loan, for example, right? So the people are not only giving loan, they're also coming to you if you have wealth. So wealth management. So there's a democratization of wealth creation and therefore of money. So that sector will grow. And then we'll see these newer sectors which are growing. So we will see that we are making beginnings in those areas. We not only have a 42-year-old company, we have a brand which is 42 years old, and which the funny thing is that youngsters of today, their parents know us better than these youngsters do.
Yeah.
Right. So the one who has to pay the money knows. So we have to reconnect with the youth like you were connected.
Yeah.
But then give them a vast range of offerings, because today youth have many choices.
Yeah.
That's the good news. We have to be in their path, whichever choice they're taking over a period of time. That's why, as I said, talent builders for the nation.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Pawar, for joining us today for that insightful chat on NIIT, on everything NIIT. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in. This is Tushar for BQ Prime.